So we have a record of this and we can post it for you to watch. So welcome in, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and get my slides up so we can be ready to go. All right, so welcome in officially to our 3-day EKG challenge starting tonight, and we will also be live tomorrow and Wednesday. And I'm super excited because this is a challenge that a lot of you have been asking for. People have been reaching out saying, hey, I need some basic education. Can you help us out? And so this class was designed specifically for the basic learner. Now, if you are here and you are more of an advanced or intermediate student, there may be a few things that we bring out that will be just a refresher and dusting off the cobwebs. So we also have Coach Michelle here with us, and she will be at the end of tonight's session. She will be doing a game for us to sort of wrap up what we learned. So we'll be giving you the knowledge, and then we'll practice it with our game. And if you've seen her before, you know her games are always amazing. So Ruben, let's make sure Michelle is promoted up to co-hostess so she can join us for all the fun. All right, now it is officially 5:30. Welcome in. Let's get kicking off with our education tonight. We're going to spend about 45 minutes probably roughly doing some basic learning tonight. And so this is how the challenge is going to work. We are going to have a nightly session just like this. You can attend on Zoom or Facebook, either way. And we're going to talk about tonight the waves, the paper, and the conduction of the heart. We're also going to talk about the segments, which are equally as important. Night 2, tomorrow, we're going to do some basic arrhythmias. And then on night 3, Wednesday, we're going to do basic 12 leads. And the good news about these 3 classes is we know some of you are on the East Coast and it may be kind of late for you. So we are going to record these and post them up in the guides section. And we're also going to make a replay page so it's super easy for you to find the replay. So I want to know if you could type in the chat for those of you on Zoom or Facebook Live. I'm watching both chats. Can you type where you are coming from? What part of the country? So we know how many East Coast folks, Central, Mountain, who's in PST with me? Charlotte, okay. India, wow, okay. Jenny's in San Francisco, nice, you're my neighbor, Jenny. Russell, South Georgia, so you're close to Coach David. Louisiana, hey Daniel, what's up? Ohio, okay. Costa Mesa, Mike, awesome. Here, I was from Southern California. Ohio, okay, beautiful. Decatur, Oklahoma, this is great. So we have people scattered out throughout the world, apparently, which is amazing. So welcome in, you guys. So what are some questions that are commonly answered? But let's just get those out real quick and make sure you have the answers. So again, if you, we have Alaska even in the house, yay, and Virginia. So if you miss a session, you can go up to the guides in the very top of the group and rewatch. But again, we'll be posting a replay page at least by tomorrow morning for you, and you'll be able to watch the replays there. Super easy. Now, we have a workbook for you tonight, and if you want to play, you can. It's totally optional. But in order to get the workbook, we have a little link for you. The link will take you to Messenger. The Messenger, you'll just click, I want the workbook, and it puts it right there for you. You can download it, print it, but it's super handy to have. And then, are there any guests? Yes, we actually have 2 guests this week. We have our coach, Michelle Barkley, who you will meet at the end of the session, who's amazing. And she will be our co-hostess and game master. I think that can be her official title. She will also be showing us a little bit on anatomy with something she handcrafted, which is called Heart on a Stick. And you will see it and you will love it. Comes with voices. It's amazing. And then also on night 4, we're going to have a bonus session. Coach Gary will be coming on and do some live arrhythmias with you guys. Oh, we also have Central America in the house. Awesome. So Tori has posted in the Facebook group for us the link to the workbook. She's also going to post it in the Zoom for you guys to download. And again, we'll be covering that later on. So who are you? That's what I want to know. Who are you? Are you, I saw we have I think a DO in the house. Do we have any EMS, NP, PA, RN, EKG tech, student? Type in the chat who you are so that we can say hi. I always love to know. RNs, okay, lots of RNs in the house. cardiovascular tech, DO, ICU RN, LPN to RN student. Nice, this will be perfect. Okay, excellent. And NP, okay, awesome. And we have NP, and we also have RN, Jessica, FNP, and MD. Perfect, this is great. Paramedic in Alaska, Donald, yes, you are doing good work up there. And telemetry, Teresa, yes, Teresa Comas. This is probably Teresa Comas. You always have great comments. Okay, so we're gonna have something for everybody is the moral of the story, no matter what level you are. So our coaches are here. As we said, we are going to hear from Michelle soon. Sometimes our other two coaches who teach with us in the 30-day EKG challenge will pop in. David, who is our paramedic / EKG master, is amazing, and he will pop in from time to time, as will our coach, Megan, who is our, we call her our cardio queen. She does inpatient and outpatient cardiology. So if you see them in the comments, know that they are part of our group and they're so helpful. Now, who am I? The person who invited you. I am a 16-year now PA. I work in cardiology and in the emergency department. But this is my love, is being here with you and teaching this so that you can be highly skilled providers and save more lives. If you asked me, why do I wake up in the morning? That is the biggest reason why. I also have authored some articles in urgent care journals. I was a former paramedic for 13 years. I lecture all over the country. In fact, I'll be doing my last lecture series. Honestly, I'm probably going to retire after doing live sessions after this year. So if you're interested in seeing us live and doing a workshop with us live, we can give you more information on that. I'm going to 6 cities this year, starting in August. We're doing Chicago. So anyway, it's going to be fun. And I'd love to meet as many of you as possible on the road. This is also a very important character. Oh, hey, Esprit, what's up? Yes. So this is a very important character. You'll see him throughout the challenge. This is Remy. He's our EKG reading German Shepherd. And he does a series called STEMI with Remy. So if you log on early to our sessions, he posts some cases where he has you look at the EKG with him to see if there's a STEMI. And he actually gives us some great pearls. So don't miss that as well. All right. Now, this is also something that I wanted to mention. We have a couple giveaways, and I wanted to get you primed and ready because not only are we going to announce the Invite a Friend contest winners, which I will do in a minute, who have been rocking it, by the way, but also there's going to be a winner on night 3, which is Wednesday. You're going to win a ticket for 1 month in our 30-day EKG challenge, which starts in July, where you will get a front row seat to everything EKG, all of our live sessions, all the recordings in our learning portal. You will get access to it all. And how can you win a seat in that 30-day EKG challenge? This is how. This is what I'm telling you tonight. What I want you to see, this is in honor of my dad who passed last year. And every time we do this, I give away a scholarship in his name because his whole thing was be nice to other people, help the other people who are struggling. So it's no wonder I do this, right? Like on a night I could be out watching Netflix, I'm here with you teaching EKGs. He raised me right, obviously. But in honor of him, right, I'm going to pick somebody from the challenge over the next 3 days, and I'm going to announce the winner on a Wednesday night, who is the most helpful to other people. So what am I looking for? If someone's struggling to find the live session, you help them. If someone has a question and I can't get to it, help them if you know the answer. If you see somebody posting an EKG and you're like, oh, you know, maybe answer, hey, I think I see this, but interact with your fellow people in this group. And the one thing you'll find is that the people in this group are very nurturing. So I'm watching, know that, okay? And I'll be picking from the people who are the most engaged and helpful. Okay, so with that being said, I wish all of you good luck, and I want to see you all play. Now, we also did a contest. So since last week, we've been running this contest, and it was called Invite a Friend. And I'm going to announce the winners. We had 5 winners of this. And so all you had to do was invite your friends, and you basically, however many people you invited that were medical friends, whoever was the top, won this workbook. So I actually have it here. It comes with this badge. And you can look it up right now on Amazon. It is $40, so it's a good value. And I'm going to share the winners with you real quick. So our number one winner was Cindy Rubio with 421 invites. So Cindy, got to give me your address so I can get this to you. And number two, man, this was a tough race. Leanne, you are also a winner. So Leanne, you are winning this. It's called Our Cat for Arrhythmias. It comes with a badge. So make sure that you send me in Facebook Messenger your address, okay? And also Minby, tight race here. You're going to win the STEMI one coming in this nicely sealed package. I'll be sending that to you. And then last but not least, Cheryl and Deanna, you both are in our 30-day EKG challenge already. And we're going to be gifting you an extra month on us for fighting so hard to invite your fellow colleagues to our group. So congratulations to everybody. I'm super excited. And yeah, Espery is here with us and she knows the value of this workbook. Okay, so let's get kicked off with the knowledge for tonight. So EKG roadmap. This is the way to get good at reading EKGs. The first things you have to know are the basics, right? The waves, the rhythms, the intervals. And once you know those, you layer on the next bit of knowledge. So what is a normal EKG? So tonight we're covering the basics, right? We're going to do a normal EKG on night 3. You have to know a little bit about coronary anatomy, and I'm pretty sure Michelle will be giving us a little teaser tonight of Heart on a Stick, and she will show you the anatomy. And then we have to understand what the 12 leads look at, the high risk patterns, that's way over here, right? Once we get solid on what normal is, we need to know how to find STEMI. We need to know subtle STEMI, and then of course the mimics, okay? So this is kind of my roadmap on how to get you good. We do a little bit of it over here, and this is kind of all the stuff we do in the 30-day EKG challenge that starts in July. So this is a primer to feeder into that program. And proof that the system I created works is that here is me. I think I'm like 20 here, maybe a little bit older. I'm a paramedic here. You can see I'm standing with my my EMT partner, Frank, and I was terrified at this point in time, right here, you can't tell, terrified of reading 12 leads. I didn't get enough education. I was terrified every time the radio went off. And so it was that fear that drove me to develop the system. And that's why I can bring you from being scared to the other side with what we've created. So the real pink elephant in the room, and I just want to get this out here, and let's type it in the chat. Let's just be real and vulnerable with each other. I can fully admit I was terrified. I think a lot of people are. Here's why I say that. A lot of people come up to me at live conferences and they admit that they feel like imposters, right? And that's not rare at all, honestly. And I say that because I know that a lot of you are feeling that too. And it's perfectly natural and normal, and it feels that way for a long time. So if you also feel a little bit scared, you could put #scared in the comments, because honestly, RP even agrees, right? It's really just a hard thing, and you have to eat it like an elephant, one bite at a time, which is why we're going to give it to you one bite at a time. So here's the other problem too. Not only is it a lot of information, it's really hard, but when we were taught in school, we had very small classes, right? Meaning short classes. And we were taught for STEMI, like one at a time, STEMI, like only one artery could STEMI. But then you get in the real world and you're like, well, 2 arteries can STEMI at the same time. And then you don't know what to do, right? You don't know how to read it because you only know one thing. And they start you in class with vectors, which is like, at least it did in my class, which was like the worst thing to do to me. This, new paramedic, I'm like 18, right? And I'm just like, mind blown. That's not the way to teach somebody. You have to start with like even way before that. You don't start someone with vectors. And then the intervals they told us don't matter. I'm going to show you why they do. There's lots of clues in those numbers. And they didn't really give you a lot of guided practice. So these are things that I was like, I'm not going to do that in my program. You are going to get the way I want to be taught so that you can win. And the other reality too, just to make you feel like you're being heard, okay? You're being heard, you're being seen, is that it's hard to wrap your mind around a flat object is representing a 3D object. Like that that connection is pretty tough too. So we're going to try to close that gap for you a little bit as well. Okay. All right. So, the other thing too, and I'm not going to get into this tonight, but the STEMI, learning STEMI is really not enough. And a lot of people tell me, you may have thought this too, is that, hey, I know STEMI, so I'll be fine, but it's not enough. So you have to know the full nuts and bolts, because it's very rare you're going to see STEMI, and there's a lot of things that are very dangerous, like, for example, biphasic T waves, for example, inverted T waves, that you need to be able to pick up so that people don't go home and die. So that's why you can't just memorize, you can't just use the machine software, because the software interpretation will not tell you when the patient needs to go to the ER. And it's not programmed to pick up some of the new findings, like Whelan's warning, like De Winter's T waves, like Brugada, right? If you've never heard some of these terms, the machine hasn't either. So if you don't know, and the machine doesn't know, who's going to know, right? And if that patient leaves and you're the last provider to see them, that's really bad. So it's just so important that we know, really, really the nuts and bolts. Okay. So we're going to talk about that tonight. And so Esprit, oh, hey, yes, the coaches do. All of our coaches are very supportive. And honestly, the people in this group are really supportive. Okay. So if you're wondering, okay, Jen, that's super cool. How am I supposed to learn this? Like, what's your recipe? Let's go. Well, let's talk about that. So we're going to do the foundations first. We're going to set a 10,000 foot view. And I know Michelle will round it out with her heart on a stick. And she's going to do a game called Treasure Hunt, which is going to be so great to wrap this up. So first things first, the heart is like a house. Okay. So you've got the plumbing in the house, which are the vessels. You've got the conduction, which are like the plugs in a house, right? And it's the conduction that we're looking at. The heart is producing its electricity and going to the surface of the chest and being read by the machine and making tracings that we then interpret. And we say, oh, you've got a blocked artery, right? You've got this or you've got that. And we tell them what's wrong. You've got left atrial enlargement. You've got right ventricular hypertrophy, right? All the things. But it's the conduction that's giving us the clues. And honestly, we rely on that conduction a lot. The other thing is you've got the walls. Okay, the walls are the muscle. You see these with echocardiogram. You can see some hints of things on the EKG, but mostly you see with echo, as well as the doors, which are the valves, and you see that on echo. You can also hear the valves sometimes when you're auscultating, right? So the number one rule in the stepwise approach is you have to know the waves. So the waves are basically something that is produced by the conduction system here. We'll go through that together. I think we'll do that right now. So let's type in the chat real quick, a review. What is this node called here? If you know it, type it in the chat. If you know it, type it in the chat. This is the what node? This is the sinus. Good. This is the sinus. Okay. What is this node here? This is called the good AV node. And then down here are the bundles. Okay. And so the sinus node, when it fires, it makes a P wave. You've got the AV, and we'll talk about what happens there, but the impulse slows down a little bit. And the impulse goes down the ventricles, and it's supposed to go down together. So it squeezes the heart to make the pulse. And so when you have a bundle branch block, the electricity isn't going down one of these bundles. So it's taking the long way around, which is why the QRS complex, which we'll talk about, gets widened. Okay. And a lot of people think that, yeah, a bundle branch block, what is that? Well, honestly, it could be caused by a blocked artery, but it's an electrical thing. So good job, everybody on Zoom. You guys are in Facebook too. You guys are all over it, making me so happy. Okay, so this is the electricity making the impulses. And you can see here that we're not going to cover bundle branches, but if you're more of a seasoned provider, you would see that this is a right bundle branch block. Okay, so the bundle here, which is the right side, is blocked and the electricity is going the long way around, making it a wide QRS. That's why it's important to know the intervals, which we'll talk about. So let's do a game, not a game, but let's just do some participation and type in the chat if you know what this wave is. Okay, so type in the chat, what is this wave here? It is the first wave, it is upright, and yes, this is the P. Okay, what's this one? This is the Q. This one is the R, good job. This one is the S, excellent. This one is the T, okay. And finally, what's this guy here? Yes, okay. This is the U wave, and that should absolutely not be there. Okay, Dogran, you are all over it. Roman, good job in Zoom. All right, and Matt Buchanan's here. Visual insight. Yes, you guys are all over it. Okay, let's keep going and talk about a few rules, then we're going to do some more of that, okay? So first things first, the P wave. Yes, Tori, thank you. The P wave should be, the first wave you see should be upright, especially in lead 2, and it should not be notched. If it's notched, it could mean the atrial, one of the atrium is enlarged, okay? It shouldn't be too close to the QRS. And I'm going to give you a framework to think about right now when you think about the PQRS and the T. So the P is the mom, the QRS is the dad, and the T wave is the baby. And they're all holding hands together along the EKG. And the relationship between them is very, very important. So the P stands close to the QRS, but not too close. It's the mom and the dad, right? They're married. If you don't have a close P to QRS, you could be dealing with a heart block, right? A first degree block or other types of heart blocks. PS, I know a lot of you said they wanted heart block review, and there is a video in the guide section on heart blocks that you can watch right now. It's like a 1-minute video I made, and you can just check that out. So if you need heart block help. Now, the QRS should be not too tall and not too small. If it's too tall, we worry about the ventricle being big. If it's too small, we worry about something being in the way. Now that something could be fluid, it could be tissue, it could be lots of things, but we need to make sure we know not too small, not too tall, and not too wide as well. Okay, so there's lots of criteria. I feel like the QRS, we have to, it's Goldilocks, right? It has so many parameters it has to follow. And then the baby T wave should be upright, except for 2 leads. Okay, the T wave should be upright in all but 2 of the leads on the 12 lead. If you know the answer to this, you can type it for us in the chat. The T waves are inverted is the right terminology, EKG terms. It's inverted in 2 leads and should be upright in the rest, okay? It should also be a little bit leaning or lopsided, your T wave, and that would be normal. So the V1 and AVR, yes, Mike, exactly. I think TKMC, you were thinking about that, but your fingers went too quick, but absolutely, good. And then the last wave here is the U, and it shouldn't be there is the moral of the story. Now, the QRS should be a certain width, exactly, TK. It should be no less than how many milliseconds? No less than how many milliseconds? Nice job on Facebook, you guys. Nana is here. Okay, it should be, yes, 120 milliseconds or less. Okay, so good job. And how many small boxes would that be on our EKG? How many small boxes or less? Good, okay, I'm nice. Everybody's putting 3 on Zoom. Perfect, good job. Okay, that's easy. And if it's wide, we think about lots of different things. Hyperkalemia would be one, and so would bundle branch block, right? There's other causes as well, like Wolff Parkinson's White, but we need to know that measurement that our QRS should be skinnier than 120. So talking about waves, let's talk about the Q wave. Now, I actually do a whole segment on Q waves because here's the thing, you guys. I'm just going to give you a little like reality check. So what you've been taught about Q waves is not complete. Let me repeat that. It's not complete because you've been taught Q waves are old MI. And that's not always the case. They can be part of an S1 Q3 T3. They can be representing hypertrophic obstructive cardiomyopathy, or they can mean new MI. And you know what? It's not always old MI. So we need to know, we'll just start with the basics though. What is pathologic, meaning bad? So first of all, we shouldn't have a Q. There's a few times we can have a small Q that can be normal, okay? But it's very rare, okay? Yes, septal Qs are pathological Qs, exactly. So the other thing to remember, in addition to that, which is a great addition, thank you for chiming in, is that the R wave, right, is measured from here to here, and your Q wave should be smaller than a third the height of the R wave. So this one is a third, therefore it is pathologic. Also, if they're wide, so big and wide essentially is pathologic, meaning bad. It can mean lots of different things, but Q waves are not really good. Now, another really quick term just to throw in for you, and just another opportunity to talk about the T wave. This is like so 101, right? This is so basic, but so important to understand. You may have never noticed before that the T wave is a little bit lopsided. You may have thought, oh, well, T waves are symmetric. Well, symmetry in a T wave is always bad. I'm never a fan of symmetry. Like in all other parts of the world, right? Our faces are symmetric. Like everything is, symmetry is good, but not in a T wave. We want it to be a little imperfect. And the other thing to know about the T's, in addition to they shouldn't be too big, is that the last half of the T is called the relative refractory period. This is all like coming back to you guys now. So the relative refractory period is something where if you have an impulse come in like an extra beat, this can lead to something bad. This can lead to VFib or VTAC. It's called R-on-T phenomenon. And so this is why we're taught about that whole Q or the whole T wave, because part of it, if something happens, can be bad. So the T wave is important in a lot of the ways, but not only for the refractory situation, but also the size of it matters. And it's also going to tell us about ischemia, believe it or not. It can also tell us about electrolytes. So the next thing to understand, you don't want to trust the machine read. I will tell you that I have personally seen, oh, Bridget, we're going to stay low. I'm going to bring it back down. Okay, I'm going to bring it back down. So I've personally seen a machine be wrong multiple times. Okay, I've seen it be wrong. So don't trust the software printout is the moral of the story. Just go back to your basics, look at your waves, look at your intervals, look at your ST segments for elevation, look for high risk patterns, and we're going to give you a 10-step system on night 3. Okay, we're going to give you a 10-step system, but just know the machine is only right like 6 to 42% of the time. There's an article if you want to look at it. I listed it here that you could, go ahead and Google if you wanted to. But it really just kind of emphasizes the fact that we need to not use this as our sole interpretation, right? We actually have to look at it ourselves. And if you just are guided by the machine, you could miss STEMI, or you could falsely call STEMI, or you could have something else big and bad, right? So this is pulled from that article, just to give you some more data, right? The 42% false negative underdiagnosis, if you wanted to look at this. So it just says it's not recommended that we use this as a sole mean of activating the cath lab. Now, this is a no-brainer. We always want to look at the EKG, but I will tell you that so many people I know use the machine to tell them what's going on because they say the machine is smarter than them, but it's not. Okay, it's not. We have to be smarter. Here's an example of the machine saying this is a normal ECG. Well, if you listened even to, so we talked about, right? I told you the T waves in AVR and V1 should be inverted. Every other T wave should be upright. Okay, you can see, oh, these guys are following the rules. So is he, so is he, so is he. But there's a couple that aren't, like this one is not following the rules. It's inverted. That's not normal. It could mean something bad, right? And the other thing that's not normal, and we're going to talk about this in a minute, is the PR interval. The PR interval should be 120 to 200. This is 116. So there is 2 abnormalities on the EKG, and just showing you that the EKG software cannot be trusted. So we need to know this. And also here's another example of an EKG that was not correct as well. And you can see that the machine software, looking at these numbers up here, we're going to go over what the normals are so you know what they are, but just more proof that don't use them, because you can see here the QTC is 713. That would be really long because it shouldn't be over 460. Okay, so that's obviously really long, but artifact, you can see here, is what's messing it up. And when they repeated it, they could see that it was actually only, I think, 444. And if you really wanted to like double check this, which I highly recommend, what you do is you go over here, you draw a line from the R to the R, and then you make a line halfway between. And if your T, which is right here, is before the line, then that is not too long. So this, if it was 713, the T wave would be past the line. So there is little hacks like that that we can use to help us stay safe and not be fooled by the machine. So this was the repeat. Clearly you can see it's 444 with no artifact. So this is just proof, guys, that hanging in there for this is going to really help you. This is an example I wanted to show you too of the Q wave. We talked about what's bad, and I wanted to show you an example right here of some Q waves in the wild. So you can see that this Q wave is about a third the height of the R. In the neighboring lead, which is a contiguous lead, you can see a little downward deflection, which is also a Q wave technically. By default, we set a third. This guy meets criteria, and we know that the machine is even flagging it, and it's saying inferior infarct because this is the inferior wall. So this machine, the machine will usually give us at least that, right? But we should also be scanning our EKG in our 10-step system to look for these Q waves, because Q waves can develop as early as an hour into your infarction. Okay. Now let's go back to the segments, going back to basics. Okay. And let's, Eric said, is this video saved? Yes, this is being recorded right now. And as soon as we're done, it'll be popped up into the guide section for you to rewatch, and we'll be sending it out tomorrow in a replay link. So let's do this and chime in if you know it, type in the chat. What is this segment here? This is the, oh, look at you guys, you're all over at PR. Yes, good. Okay, now PRI, nice. Okay, let's do the next one. This segment here, this is not really a segment, but this is the QRS, right? And arguably the most important segment on the whole EKG is this, right? This is the ST segment, right? This is the thing we want to measure for elevation or depression. And then down here, this is the QT, and that QT we're measuring to see if it's too long, because that's where we start getting into trouble with things like torsades de pointe. And I see you guys all on Zoom and Facebook. You are nailing it and getting these all right. I'm so impressed. So these are our segments. Okay, this is the QT. And just to highlight for you, the beginning of the Q, end of the T, men should be under 450. Women should be under 460. If you want to just remember 460, that's okay too. 460, because really it's not going to make a big difference from 450 to 460 anyway. Okay, so we just generally use 460 as our reference range. Okay, and this is a great graph just for reference for you from the visual nurse on Instagram, who basically just put together this graphic today, which was perfect timing. And he's talking about the paper speed. So you could go look at that and reference that. But the thing we're measuring is time and voltage. So voltage is what we're looking at for like the size of the QRS, right? Looking to see if there's a lot of muscle tissue or not enough muscle tissue. And we're measuring that. And we're also looking at the time. So when you're looking at the PR interval, the beginning of the P to the R, you can see, for example, this one, it's under 0.20 because it's less than one big box, which is 0.20 in time. So there's all sorts of ways to use this. So the intervals at the top, these numbers here, this is Remy, who is telling you, yes, they matter. So let's talk about that real quick. The numbers to remember. So the PR, and if someone could type this in the chat for me, in both Facebook and Zoom, if you guys can. So the interval number 1 at the top of the EKG is always going to be the heart rate, okay? Ventricular rate is going to be the heart rate. Interval number 2, and that should be between 60 and 100. Interval 2 is the PR interval right here, and that should be 120 to 200, 120 to 200. The QRS duration is line number 3 on most EKGs, and that should be under 120, okay? And then the QTC, which is the second number, should be under 460. So you can see so far these numbers are normal. And then lastly, this number here is the R axis, and that should be, good job, Colin, thank you. This number should be 0 to 90, and it is, okay? That's the axis. You don't need the P or the T, you just need the middle number, which is the R, okay? So what clues can we gain from that? Well, if you suspect you may have somebody with a Wolff-Parkinson's White, a short PR interval may be helpful. And if you have somebody with a first-degree block, a long over 200 PR interval would be super helpful. So thank you, Tori, for typing this in Zoom. So hopefully you guys can reference that. And really there's lots of clues. And then the QT is important because if you prescribe medications that prolong the QT, thank you, Michelle, then you need to know where to find the QT. Because if you give them an antibiotic that prolongs and you cause the torsades and you say, oh, I didn't know, right? That's not good enough for the attorneys. So that's why we have to know this information. So let's do a really quick case just to illustrate the importance of the intervals. This was a 51-year-old female who presented with feeling like the water ran out of her. She was under a lot of stress. She drank some alcohol, did some cocaine, and she didn't feel good, so she called EMS. So EMS found her. She got to the door, opened it, collapsed, went into torsades de pointes. They defibrillated her once and got pulses back, and this was her door time EKG. So now the hospital, the emergency room, has got the big job of figuring out why did this patient go into cardiac arrest. So what you would do is you would run through your 10-step, which we're going to talk about on day 3. But in addition to looking for STEMI, we also want to do what we're going to do tonight, which is our basic. We're just going to look at the relationship of the waves. Okay. So what we're noticing here is the mom and the dad are getting on great. So we don't think there's a heart block. However, the baby T seems to be, excuse me, that's probably not the best one to do. Let's do it on a different one. Let's go here. This is better. The baby T is almost halfway between. And so this QT ended up being really high. It was like 510. And this was caused by the multiple QT prolonging medications this patient was on. So she had low potassium, which is a risk factor, and she also was on multiple QT prolongers at the same time. So knowing where to find this QT and knowing how to measure it just with your eye is so important. Pattern recognition. That is the clue. That is the secret to this whole game. Pattern recognition. So the sooner your eye can say, mom, dad, baby too far, that's huge. Okay. You also want to look at the size of the T's. If they're too big, you want to be able to identify that too. So really understanding normal. And when she got off all her QT prolongers, you could see her QT went down to 441, which was now normal. So that was reassuring for her. Now, which one of these things are you most excited about that you learned tonight? What is your biggest takeaway? So type in the chat what your biggest takeaway is. I'm so excited to hear what your biggest takeaway. We're going to do a little bit of a giveaway now. And while Michelle is talking, I'm going to be figuring out who the winner of our giveaway is. But before let me stop my share. Let me show you what the prize is for tonight. And then I'm going to turn the floor over to Michelle. So I'm really excited. Okay, so this is the prize tonight. This is the EKG workshop kit. You can see I painted these. You can see there's paint on my nails. I've been painting all day. this is going to be for the winner tonight. Okay, one of you folks are going to win this. And what's going to come in this, we actually send one of these out to each one of our students in our 30-day EKG challenge, but you guys, one of you guys is going to win. So inside is a workbook. Oh my gosh, 17-page workbook that we actually have real EKGs. Yes. Oh, you know what? Real EKGs. I love what you said. Our DO that's in the house, no need to obsess over access. I heart you so much because that is true. That is so true. I will tell you the 2 times I feel like access is important, and you can chime in if you agree. So access is relevant when you think you might have a pulmonary embolus, and it's also relevant when you have a wide complex tachycardia. I love it. Don't trust the machine. These takeaways are really good. I love it. Okay, so anyway, lots of real EKGs in here to practice with. This is so fun. You also will get a cheat sheet that has all my cheats on it that shares with you my axis chart, a bunch of good tidbits, semi-mimics. We actually send you a normal EKG so you can practice color coding it and carving it up. We send you actually a tool, and how this is the information on how to use it. This is what the tool is. This is an RCAT window. Okay, this helps you look at basically the elevation and also measure out your QTs or any of your intervals, which is so fun. And we send you some crayons to color code the contiguous leads. They're all the right colors. And the last but not least, you're going to win. Whoever wins this is going to win this painting that I hand painted. Okay. They come a little stand, and this is going to go in the mail to you if you're a winner. So while Michelle is presenting, if you want to win this, be in the running, put #EKG, and I'll select a name and announce it at the end of tonight. So assess the patient. Yes, I love that. That is so good. Okay, Michelle, welcome in.
Hey guys, can you hear me all right? I am in my room with Skelly and Heart on a Steak.
Heart on a Steak.
Coming to the class tonight. So this has all of our color coding, and we actually have sinus node, AV node, and the bundles that are now stitched on here too, so they can be taken off, and you can kind of visualize where that electricity is. So it makes it a little bit easier to have visuals, and you can notice that everything is kind of color coded. Like, who has coronary arteries that are these colors? Well, that's because we actually look at the arteries and figure out where the arteries are in the body. And so it's a little bit easier if things are color coded. So we actually take those colors and then are going to match them up to the leads that are on the body. So I actually have those leads that are in color coding, so that you can, when we go over each one of the leads in our class, everything is done by color codes. So first of all, let me show you, when you're looking at this heart itself, everybody has to know, Jennifer's already talked about the sinus node, the AV node, what each one of those nodes produce on paper. So if I say sinus node, you say what lead, or excuse me, what waveform on the paper. When I say sinus node, you say what lead, or excuse me, I keep saying lead, sorry. What waveform do you see on paper? When I say AV node, what is that length of time between the sinus node and the AV node? And then the bundles now then are going to make our QRS. So awesome, Willie, thank you. So then we look at the coronary arteries. So we're going to do a super quick anatomy lesson. We have two major coronary arteries. Thank goodness they made it easy. One's on the left, one's on the right. Thank goodness. But we always have to remember the back of the heart has to get perfused also. So the front of the heart has my right coronary artery. I love the right coronary artery. I think nobody pays attention to the right. The right coronary artery takes care of the right side of the body. It also takes care of those little sinus node, AV node. It's a lot of perfusion to most patients. It's a dominant artery. that's going to perfuse the sinus node and the AV node. Then it also perfuses the right ventricle. But there's more. The left ventricle has a left main artery. Both of these are going to come off of your ascending aorta. The left main comes down and it bifurcates. It comes down, thank goodness, left, it's in the front, anterior, and it goes down, descending. Thank goodness they made it easy. Left anterior descending is going to go down the front of the heart, so it perfuses the front of the heart. And then there's going to be one that's going to go around the side of the heart. And because it goes around, we call it the circumflex. It's going to go around the heart, and both the right coronary and this circumflex perfuse the back of the heart. So all those arteries, something could be wrong. And then because we have it color coded, we can actually, when we have our arteries, when we have our leads on our patient, we teach the coronary leads, the leads that are on the patient match up with the coronary arteries. So that's how we do this. So when heart on a stick is having a heart attack and there's ST elevation in these leads down here in these green leads, and the bottom of the heart's going, oh no, I'm having a heart attack. It's really bad. And all these leads are going to be elevated. And each one of these leads are going to be talking to each other. And they're going to be saying, oh no, I'm having a heart attack. And then we talk about the opposite leads. Those leads are going to be saying, oh, I'm so sorry. Be depressed for you, and we're going to call those reciprocal leads, and we're going to be ST depressed and depressed for you for 24 hours. So those are the kind of the things that we talk about, but just super quick, there's two major arteries, right, left. The left bifurcates, one goes around, that's the circumflex. It can perfuse the back of the heart, or the right coronary artery can perfuse the back of the heart. So easy. We make coronary arteries so hard. I don't know why we have to make it so hard. It can be super easy. So let's do our little game real quick.
Awesome. And people are loving heart on a stick.
Heart on a stick. So let's see. I made a cute little game.
Oh, we love your games.
And so here's the first question. The sinus node that Jennifer talked about creates what? The sinus node creates what? And it's usually upright. It's usually upright in two leads. It's usually upright except in two leads. One of them is V1. V1, it's biphasic. And the other one is what? There's, first of all, the sinus node creates what? Yes, Willie, I'm seeing P. And I lost my chat here for a second. Okay, there we go. All right. P wave, yes. AVR, perfect. So AVR and P wave. And the answer, yes, P wave and AVR. Okay. So, oh no, I'm concerned about these intervals. Are they okay? What is normal for my PRI? What is normal for the PR interval? What is normal for PR interval? And I didn't even know that Jennifer was going to do this exactly. And all of a sudden the game is like matches up perfectly.
No, we always match. We never plan it, but we always match. It's crazy.
Okay, so in the chat, I have a 120 to 200 milliseconds or 0.12 to 0.20, whichever way, either you're writing it in milliseconds or seconds, either one. Let's see if that's right. Yes, it's right. 120 by 200. Yes. Okay. All right. So the QRS, Jennifer talked about that QRS. It's the dad, right? The QRS is the dad. And when it has the electricity on the heart, the QRS is the electricity, but the mechanical activity that happens after the QRS is called what? What is the mechanical activity in the heart called that matches up with that QRS? What is that mechanical activity? Look, Willie, you are a fast typer. The ventricles. Yes, perfect. Ejection. Yes, ejection. And somebody actually was very fast and actually wrote down the interval amount too. I was like, whoa, you are fast, girl. Let me see here. Okay, so the coronary arteries, what are the names of the coronary arteries? So I told you that. What are the names of the coronary arteries? Yes, Jessica and Nana. Depolarization, Julian, y'all are so fast with typing. I am not a fast typer at all. Okay, so I've got LAD, the left anterior descending, the LCX, the left circumflex, and RCA, and Teresa, right circumflex, right, left circumflex. Perfect. Yes. Okay, y'all have it. So it's the left anterior descending, LAD, the circumflex, and the right coronary artery. Yay. All right. Oh no, this guy's having palpitations. What's going on? He's a male with complaints of palpitations times 3 hours. What are you thinking? Jennifer didn't go over this, but I wanted to bring this up. I think we're not going to go over it till later on. But so if you don't know, this is a quick little thought process, like a pre-test, but everybody's getting it already, a flutter. So we have lots and lots of flutter waves. Those are F waves, all those little waves that are in between the QRS, atrial flutter. Yes, y'all are so. Oh no, here's another one. Jennifer talked about if you wanted to go back and look at different kinds of blocks, if you were worried about not knowing the blocks, she did a quick little video on that, and it's up in the guides if you want to look at that. But oh, Matt's already got this, second degree type 2. So I always say, if you look at that and there's something missing, there's some QRSs that aren't there, you're someplace in the second degree block. You're someplace in the second degree when there's blocks, when there are QRSs missing. Let me make sure I'm saying that correctly. If I don't see QRSs, I'm in second degree. If I don't see QRSs, I'm in second degree. Then I just got to figure out, is it Winky Bach or is it the other one? So these PRs are the same. Each one of those PR intervals are the same. So I'm in second degree type 2. Yes, y'all got that. Okay, I think I just have 2 more after this. Oh, look at the zebras. I love little zebras. So these zebras are looking at something. The zebras are looking at something. They're looking at lead 1. They're looking at lead 1 and they're looking at AVL. So they're over here in this top left-hand corner of the heart, or what wall of the heart? They see some ST elevation and they are doing what? ST elevation. Yes, Teresa, lateral wall. Yes, y'all are so. Yes, that is a lateral wall that we've got going on there. So that lateral wall of the heart, that left lateral wall of the heart. I don't know why we don't call the right wall of the heart the right lateral. We don't. We just say left. Everybody's so concerned about the left. Nobody cares about the right. I'm always saying, what's going on? Okay. All right, we did a flutter. Now this one, those R waves are not what? Oh, y'all are real fast. AFib. Shh, you are typers. Yes, that is AFib because there is a wavy baseline. The R to R is not regular. And if it was really fast, irregularly irregular, if it was really fast, it would actually be AFib with RVR, rapid ventricular response. So that is definitely AFib. Okay, our last question. Last question, and our game is over. What are you worried about? I gave you two different issues here. Oh, what do we do? What do we do besides go on coffee break? Right? Is this coffee break time?
No.
I mean, like, oh no, is this coffee
No
break
coffee.
time? No, it's VTAC, call a code. And then we didn't call it fast enough and they went into BFib. Oh, I like this. Christine says my patient's brushing his teeth. Yes, I have one of those stories too, that we jumped on a patient that was talking to us and we thought they were in VFib and they were not. VTAC and VFib. Okay, y'all made it all the way to the end. Yay.
Thanks, Michelle. That was so great. How many of you enjoyed this game? Type in the chat. Did you guys enjoy the game? Did you guys enjoy the lesson tonight? Do you guys feel like you're finally getting some, yes, okay, good. Yeah, this is so fun. We might be able to get Michelle to come back. It's quite possible if we coax her enough. Are you coaxable, Michelle?
Oh, always. I love anything. If you say
Okay.
game, I'm right there.
Game, hashtag game. So Michelle actually does a lot of our teaching in our 30-day EKG challenge, and always joins me in our 3 days. So we love her. But okay, guys, so I'm going to announce the winner of the kit. And this person needs to message me with their address. You need to message me on Facebook Messenger, which is best. And basically the winner is Jenny. Jenny, I'm trying to remember your last name. I just saw Lieberman, I think. Jenny Lieberman. Yes, Jenny Lieberman, you are the winner. So Jenny, you're going to get this EKG mailed out to you. So you just need to get me your address. And I'm so excited for you, Jenny. You're going to love it. And everybody else, there's still time to get a kit. Don't worry, we'll tell you more about that. But in the meantime, tomorrow night, 5:30, same time, same place, same link if you want to join on Zoom. And we'll see if we can coax our friend Michelle to maybe join us at the end, just like this, to round out our knowledge. Thank you all for contributing and participating and making this fun. And again, keep your eye out in the comments. Be encouraging to your fellow students. Help them out if they struggle, because we're going to be watching you to decide who wins our scholarship to our 30-day EKG challenge program, which is a buffet of EKG knowledge that basically takes this and we expand and keep learning. So you definitely want to be in the running for that. All right, any questions, put them in the chat for us. And you can always message me or Michelle. Thank you so much. And thank you, Tori and Michelle, for helping us with this. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. All right,